What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but man has been busy. The last few weeks didn't really kind of incorporate much things that would have been worth filming. Like, I was at a festival, that would have been cool to film. However, you know, I don't want to get myself in any trouble. Yeah, so this week we are essentially starting to get into our more kind of peaking phase for the competition. So the block has ended up really well just before the festival, where I had to take a 10-day break. I didn't have to take a 10-day break, but festival, the way it worked out, 3 days, recovery time after that, and I wasn't really kind of feeling right to actually go to the gym for a good few days. So this week has been my first week properly training again, so haven't really been expecting much. Now, 6 weeks onto competition from this weekend, and then 6 weeks until I do a mini cut. So I'm really making the most of training over the next few weeks, as well as like eating, because I want to finish this kind of first phase of my off season the best I can. Get like a really nice kind of strength PB, get like a really good body composition at this very heavy body weight. So I'm like 95 and a half at the moment, sitting between 95 to 96. So I don't have too much of a weight cut to do for the competition, and I've been holding this weight for like the last month or so. But we're about to have breakfast now. I'm going to show you what I'm going to have, because it's kind of slightly changed. Slightly. It's not made yet, but I will show you once it's made. So bagel and eggs as per usual, with bacon medallions, mushrooms and tomatoes. And then what do you think this is going to be? Same as always, bacon and eggs. The old reliable, good old reliable banana and blueberry pancakes with some maple butter on top.
And the Marcus and so many others. I mean, I don't want to mention again Nick Walker, but I'm going to mention Nick.
I have to say they were delicious, but I'm at that part of the off season or this like gaining phase where even when I'm having nice foods, just finishing them is a little bit tiresome. So I will generally keep most of my meals pretty much set for like weeks on end. However, I do now definitely notice that I do enjoy a little bit more kind of frequent variation in some aspects of my meals, just to help me finish eating them. Because for ages I was just having like oats and like raspberries and maple butter and peanut butter for like my kind of part two of this meal. Just towards the end of it, I was really having to like slog through it. So switching up to pancakes, did that this week, and I think it's a really good idea if you do have, a list of different options that you can have at different meals, right? Part one of that meal, that's pretty much stayed set for, well, definitely since prep finished. Bacon medallions and eggs has been something that I've been having for, God, years. Probably since I was in college, which is a long time ago now. And after that, all the meals I have now are meals that I've had for like years, but they're just rotating in at different time points based off preference at the time, right? And I think that's a really necessary thing for you to have if you want to remain adherent to either a gaining phase or to a dieting phase, because it can be very easy to become complacent with meals if you get to the point where they are like not as enjoyable as they once were. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be enjoyable all the time. Like sometimes you do just have to eat the meals, get the calories down, but having a list of options there that are like calorie equivalent, like swaps, like that is generally going to be something that I would recommend to like most of my clients. Like say for example, pancakes, the equivalent swap for this could be the hot bowl of oats with the kind of berries and the peanut butter, maple butter, and then the other option could be when it's maybe a little bit hotter outside, I swap to the overnight oats. And you would have seen that like throughout my prep, I had overnight oats for a lot of the meals once I could afford to have a part two of my breakfast, having then hot and then having pancakes. And that's essentially 3 different meals I can rotate between. And they're pretty much calorie equivalent, so I don't necessarily need to like have a drastic overhaul of my diet. They all contain the same ingredients. Those pancakes, they're made with oats. They have similar kind of protein levels to what the oats, in terms of the oats in the bowl, overnight oats they'd have. It doesn't really take a huge amount of additional time to actually prepare those either. And I'll have those for like other meals throughout the day as well. My lunch, my pre-workout meal, my dinner, different things I rotate between, but they all have like a similar enough base. So I think if you are looking to make dieting, make gaining much easier, like have a list of options. Have go-to meals. You don't necessarily need to have like 10 different meals, but just having like 3 different options per like meal slot across the day, that can certainly help. Or you could just eat the same thing for every single meal throughout the day, which some bodybuilders do. Wouldn't be me. I like food. I don't necessarily see food as just fuel. It's something that I do like to enjoy, but I'm going to eat the best I can to ensure that I have the good fuel coming on board to train properly. I'm going to let this digest, then we have to go to the gym. Today on the program we have squats, so it is a good few weeks after the competition. We're like 6 weeks out now, so I'm pretty much just going to be working up to like a last warm-up in terms of singles, and then from there going to be doing some back downs, just triples, probably do something like 190 for 3, just keep it quite easy, because we're going to ramp up the intensity pretty much week on week now for the next few weeks. So we're going to be adding weight pretty aggressively to the bar, have some RDLs, lunges, some bench press, pull downs and tricep extensions. So that's the plan for the day. See you there.
Just like trim it out a little bit, then my sword gets thick. So what are we talking about? Where you just me, Bird and Andrew, about like people saying like, oh, I wish I looked back in like the Crusades and stuff like that. And we were like, it's like as stupid as it needs ever. You know, everybody is someone's friend. Nice, up. Like what we set up with like the closer grip. That's all. Yeah, it is. That's just how it is.
Oh, it's just slanting.
That end is actually perfect. The second one, yeah. So for our second week that we had something happen, it tilted it. We want to ask that guy from over there. We're willing to have you fix it.
My god, that was a sweaty one. Squats, a little bit of a misgroove on that 220. I definitely do think it was a misgroove and not a strength. At least I fucking hope it wasn't. Last week took the same weight, moved much smoother. This week, not as smooth. I sat back too much into it and it caused the bar to drift backwards. So the bar went back over my midfoot. I will show you a video just from the side that I took my phone. That definitely kind of threw off the single itself. But look, what can you do? I did notice during my back offs that one thing I need to start paying more attention to is just rooting my feet to the ground. So I was thinking too much about, you know, the bracing of my midsection, but not enough about kind of rooting my feet and kind of creating tension from my feet upwards. So through the back off sets, I was really consciously cueing, you know, foot pressure and using my quads. So the way I kind of think about that is like the typical tripod foot. as well as when I am just about to initiate the squat, I like externally rotate my knees and like tense my quads, and that is like enough of a cue for me to kind of keep control as I get down to the bottom, and then use my actual quads to extend my knees, as opposed to just kind of hoping momentum helps me get through that kind of first half of the bottom of the squat. So that's something to keep note of, because that's one thing I've been really noticing on my squats in the last while. Just the bottom has not been feeling as much of a kind of pop, and I definitely think that is potentially one of the reasons. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how now using that cue going forward and using it for my single will work next week. So next week is like the kind of real kind of start of the peak, because the last week, as I mentioned, has just been me kind of getting back into training, getting used to volume again, because after moving festival, like as I said, I had like so long off the gym, so like this week is essentially just getting used to training again as such. I feel like I detrain very quickly, and my body is so much more sensitive to volume this week. Like I had so many kind of DOMs throughout this week, and then just weights just feeling very, very heavier than they should. So hopefully, you know, the next few weeks now, we get up to some level of PB weights. Like my expectations for the meet are not too high. Like I'm kind of hoping to just equal what I got in the last competition, so that's 700, and you know, I do think it's doable. Like my bench is moving really well, deadlift is moving quite well too, and squats is just the only one where I'm like a little bit more kind of iffy, but like that's how it's always been. I've never been terribly confident in my squat. You know, I definitely do think we can do it. So yeah, week 0 down, week 1 next week. Maybe I'll get a deadlift video in next week. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Hope you have a great week, and we'll chat to you in the next one.